Good afternoon. The title of this course is fingerprint examination. Fingerprint examination. Fingerprint examination is a forensic science process of comparing an unknown fingerprint left at a crime scene with a known fingerprint to determine if they match. I repeat, fingerprint examination is a forensic science process of comparing an unknown fingerprint left at a crime scene with a known fingerprint to determine if they match. Of course, your fingerprint is the impression left behind after you might have touched an object. This is formed by the ridges and furrows on the fingertip. The ridges, if you look at the tip of your finger or fingers, you will discover that you have lines. These lines are known as ridges. And between the ridges, you have spaces. Those spaces are known as furrows or valleys. So these ridges and valleys, they form the impression that is left behind wherever you touch any object. So the impression left is known as a fingerprint. Now, if a fingerprint is left at a crime scene, what we do is that we get suspect, we get fingerprint, we collect fingerprint from suspect, and we compare the two together. In fact, every forensic investigation use this method, that is comparing the known to the unknown. Comparing the known to the unknown to determine the match. If they match, it means that the suspect was in contact with the crime scene or with the victim. If they didn't match, that means that suspect is exonerated. He was not in the picture. That is, he was never in the contact. Um, the crime scene, of course, is either the location where the crime took place or the body of the victim. The location may be inside a house, may be inside a moving vehicle, a train, bus, or even plane. It may be in an open place. So that place where the crime took place is a crime scene. And also the body of a victim, like the body of a rape victim or a murdered person. The body also, if it is processed, you can see fingerprint from the body of that victim. So that victim's body is also a crime scene. And another thing I classify as crime scene is that of an important document that a criminal or a suspect can change the document, and where you have the means of authentication of the document, like the fingerprint. The criminal might have substituted his own information, maybe in a page or two pages, might have substituted uh, those pages or that page with the original ones there. And because there must be probably on the document what is used for the authentication of that document is fingerprint. That document, that criminal also, we have to find a thumbprint, I mean a print, a fingerprint, maybe his own fingerprint or fingerprint print of somebody, and use it. By the time an ordinary person will see it, it will seem as if they are from the same source. But by the time you bring it to a forensic examiner, he can examine the two and say, no, these two fingerprints are not the same. and therefore that document is forged. Let's move ahead. There are types of there are categories of fingerprint. All fingerprints are categorized into two. They are categorized into two. The first one is the visible one and the invisible. The visible fingerprint are the fingerprint that can be seen without the aid of anything. You can see them clearly if they are deposited on a crime scene, maybe at the location or the body of any victim. So it can be seen without aiding the eyes. And they are further divided into two. The visible one are further divided into two. We have patent and latent. I'm sorry, patent and plastic. Patent and plastic. The patent is formed as a result of um, a finger impression that is left when the hand that has touched some things like some materials like grease, like blood, like wet paint had already touched. Let me repeat myself. Patent is formed when fingerprint impression is left on a surface that has been touched by a finger that has grease, either grease, blood, or wet paint, etc. on it. So if a criminal touches a blood or has blood in his hand and touch any surface, the fingerprint that will be deposited will be visible one, and that type of fingerprint is known as patent. Patent. And let me tell you a case. There was a case of a man, of a robber. A criminal came to a compound to steal, and the head of the family saw him, and as they were fighting, the man jumped over after he shot the man. He jumped over to the others out of the compound using a ray to lift himself. The ray was freshly painted. So he left his fingerprint while fleeing, and the fingerprint that he left was used to apprehend him and sentence him later. And this kind of fingerprint left behind by touching wet paint is known as patent. Patent. And the second one is plastic. Plastic is visible. Plastic fingerprint is visible, and it is formed when the when the when the finger touches touches a surface and left impression after um, and left impression on the surface. That kind of surface, like mud, like sand, like to those that understand what I mean by 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 pipe, no hard pipe known as echo in Western Nigeria. When you touch such a thing, the fingerprint that you left behind is going to be, or something like a fufu. You touch it, just touch it like this and leave it. You see your fingerprint there. So such kind of fingerprint is plastic. The one you touch, I mean the one you have when you touch mud, when you touch sand, especially wet sand, that is plastic. And that is going to be a 3D impression, and a kind of impression that has um, depth and width, depth and width. Such kind of impression is known as plastic. So plastic is visible. Plastic impression, that is plastic fingerprint, is visible. Patent is visible. So both of them belong to visible fingerprint. And the second part of second category of fingerprint is the invisible, which we call latent. Latent is something that is hidden, something that is not seen, something that cannot be seen. So for you to see it, you have to do something. You have to apply something. before you can see it, you have to apply a process that will make it to be seen by eyes, and that one is called latent. And that one is so common on the crime scene because the depositor, the criminal, will not know that it has been deposited. On every fingers of your hand, of every human's hand, we have on that we have lines. On those lines, those we call ridges, you have some sort of holes. Those holes contain something we call sebaceous gland. Inside that gland, fluid come out every time, and that fluid consists of some things like water, like protein, ammonia acid, like sugar, salt, and so on and so forth. They are there. So by the time you touch anything, the fluid that is coming out from your sebaceous gland on the tip of your fingers, or even your palm, the whole palm, by the time you touch it, your fingerprint, the print of those fingers will be impressed on the surface. And such kind of impression is not visible because the liquid that helped to form it is colorless. So because of this, it is invisible, and we have to do something to make it visible at the crime scene. There are techniques used. And what are these techniques? I'm going to classify them to about three. The first is powdering, from the word powder. So powder of different sorts are used uh, to make latent fingerprint visible. We have black powder, uh, powder for fingerprint. This black is used on surfaces that are white or bright in color. And we have also white. We have also white powder, and the white powder is used on surfaces that are black or dark in color. The logic behind this is that when you apply the powder and you're able to see the fingerprint, the black powder on white surface will give you a contrast, will give the contrast between the surface and the print. So it will make the print to be visible enough for you to be lifted. So the purpose of using opposite color on surfaces is just to form a contrast so that the print will be visible enough to be read and to be lifted from the object. So take note of that. Black powder on white surface, white powder on black surface. Then the second technique is chemical treatment. Chemical treatment is said to be used when you use chemicals, when you apply chemicals on surfaces so as to make latent fingerprint visible. Example of such chemical is iodine, is nihidrin, and so on and so forth. So there are many, but by the time you get to um, module, I think module 6 or 7, we'll be talking about this one in detail because there's a module that we treat how to process fingerprint from surfaces. But this is introduction. Now, the third one is digital imaging. Digital imaging is where you use a digital imaging device to acquire fingerprint and set it into the system. So with that, you can send both the known and the unknown into the system and compare the two. If they match, good. That means they are from the same source. If they don't match, that means they are not from the same source. So let's move ahead. A question that may come to your mind is, what is the purpose of fingerprint processing or examination to criminal investigation. Fingerprint plays a crucial role in criminal investigation to establish links between suspect and crime scene and between victims and the suspect. At times, just as I said, the crime scene may be the location where that thing took place, or the body of the victim. So, when there may be cases where where we process after processing the body, I mean the location, you can't see anything. Then what you process is the body of the victim, and at times you may even it may be the body of the victim that you go straight to process. In a case of rape, all you need to do is to process the body of the victim, yeah, the victim, for evidence. Like you process the neck, you for fingerprint, you process the hand, you process the body and the clothes that she wore for fingerprint. Though there are some other evidence that you can process the body for, but now we are talking about fingerprint. So the fingerprint may be found on the body of that victim, and also may be found on the crime scene, that location. I mean, it may be on the doorknob while he was trying to enter. It may be found on the table. Probably the perpetrator was is a friend that came in, sat down, and maybe they even ate together. So he might have touched so many things, deposited his fingerprint on some object there. So he may be claiming that he was never in that house that day. So processing that place and seeing his fingerprint will link him to the scene, and also can also link him to the body of the victim. Uh, in criminal investigation, in forensic criminal investigation, there are about 12 laws in forensic law, law, about 12 of them. But for the purpose of this study or this course, we are going to talk about two of them now. Two of them that every forensic examiner must understand. The first one is Lucas exchange principle. Lucas exchange principle. Lucas exchange principle states that every contact leaves a trace. Every contact leaves a trace, which means when two objects come in contact, there is always a transfer of material. A criminal that is coming to that new environment, to that crime scene, coming to that place, there are things in his body that is going to transfer. There are some material in his body that's going to transfer to that place. And those materials, they are a sample of those materials are things like DNA, like um, like DNA, like the hair, the fiber of his clothes, the even his fingernail at times, the denture he might have bitten the victim, or the victim might have bitten him, and something like a fingerprint, footprint, and so many other things. Those things are his personal characteristics that he brought to that place. He might have deposited those things, those materials that are his personal characteristics might have been exchanged. He will give it to the crime scene, and he will take something away from the crime scene. And that will lead us to the second law of individuality, the law of individuality, which states that every object, natural or artificial, has a set of characteristics that can never be duplicated in another object, which means every object maybe natural or artificial, a is a copy of itself. In fact, when you understand these two laws, it will be very easy for you to understand any part of forensic investigation. Maybe um, DNA, maybe fingerprint, maybe handwritten, maybe just mention it. Every forensic investigation hinges on these two laws. So when you understand these two laws, you are good to go. There are some other laws also that are that we use, but these two laws are the basic. These are the fundamental. So without them, uh, forensic investigation is nothing. So coming back to fingerprint, what makes fingerprint infallible evidence? What makes fingerprint an infallible evidence? Number one, uniqueness. Every fingerprint is unique to an individual. In fact, of all the primate animal, of all the animal like that resemble human beings somehow, it is only human being and just only one animal, koala bear, that has prints on their fingers, that have those patterns. Others, what they have is totally different from our own. Our own is unique to us. And apart from that one, every human being has unique fingerprint. Your fingerprint is unique to you. And one funny thing, one wonderful thing is this: on the 10 fingerprint of every human being, each fingerprint is different from the second one. The patterns are not the same. The pattern, by the time the pattern of the thumb print of this one may be something, it might be in a group they call arch, and the other one may be loop. So and so on, so forth, and so on and so forth. And the right thumb will not have the same pattern or the same minutiae, that is the same detail with the left thumb. All of them, each finger with different pattern, with different details. So they are unique. You can use it you can trace a fingerprint to a particular person. Number two, immutable nature. Immutable nature. That is, fingerprint remain the same all throughout lifespan. A boy of about a year or two, or a newborn baby, if you take his fingerprint and keep it till old age, the fingerprint will look the same. The only difference you may see there is that the area may be larger, but the print will be the same. Even when the boy or the girl has minor injury or minor burn, the thing will heal up and rearrange itself to the original one. Though there are few people on rare occasions, there are people that has no fingerprint at all, and this is a result of some rare disease that will just blur the whole thing, or it won't be there again. The fingerprint will not be there because it's a rare case. And that case, there's a way we treat those people. We will come to that one later. So, and another thing, number three, I said the fourth thing that makes a fingerprint an infallible evidence is uniqueness. One. Number two, immutable nature. Number three, scientific basis. Scientific basis. This fingerprint is based on well-established scientific principles and methodologies. If you look at what we do is doing fingerprint examination is purely based on well-established scientific principles. So it's not just abracadabra. But the time an examiner examines a fingerprint, the other person, if the other person do the same thing elsewhere, they are going to get the same result. As far as one of them didn't have a cognitive contamination. So if they under every normal condition, they will get the same result. And lastly, legal acceptance. Fingerprint is well accepted in the court of law all over the world. This is where we are going to stop today. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Please, if you have a question, ask now or later. If you after going through this lecture, because this video is going to be sent to you after this lecture, if you watch it, if you have a question, send it through the classroom platform. An invitation was sent to you through the platform, through the Google Classroom. Please click on it so that you can have access to the classroom. You can see the announcement when we have the next class, and when we have through that classroom, you have your assignment, and you do your assignment and send through the same means. Then also your examination, your final exam is going to be just 30 marks. Those assignments will be 70. So please do them. The assignments are simple as they are simple questions, but we enable you to go over the material or the class lecture, so that it can get you keep you reminded of what you have done. So please go through the assignment, do the assignment, and submit them through the same method. Yeah, God bless you. We are going to meet in the next class on Saturday morning. Thank you, and God bless you. Before I go, I have a book I wrote. I wrote a book on this fingerprint examination. If you need it, it's going to be a great treasure for you. Though it's not compulsory, but if you have it, it's going to be a great treasure. There are a lot of things that about fingerprint that are discussed there. They are on Amazon and some other platform. But if you go to Amazon, you have it. You can have it on hard copy. Hard copy that is to be printed. It will be printed like this. Be printed. You see, this one is from Amazon. This is on forensic crime scene investigation, written by me also. So if you order for that book, they can send it to you. Then you have also the e-copy. The e-copy is cheaper. The e-copy is just about 6,000. So, and there's when you buy e-copy, they send to your device. On your device, you can read it. You can read it just the same way you read your normal book. You can carry it anywhere you have your device. Then, but the hard copy, when you are buying it, they print it from the US and send it to you. But the difference is that when you are buying this one, apart from the cost of printing cost, you still pay for importation. So we made the price to be higher, far higher than the e-copy. The e-copy, you are not going to pay for any logistic or bringing from that place to this place. It just, and there's no cost on printing, no printing cost of any sort of that. It's just the book, the e-copy that you buy. So you pay for it and they send to your device instantly. So that's it. So if you have it, I will send it the link also to you. If you are interested, you can buy it. Thank you. Bye bye till Saturday by 8:05.